I'm not here to brag or say I became a UX designer last year. You can do it too. Because the truth is that it's really fucking hard. I just got lucky. I'm the exception.
Things are starting to ramp up again now that the holidays are over. I want to say like half my company was out for a good portion of the holidays. To be honest, it's actually kind of nice to have everyone back and not just be me working by myself. I thought I'd make a more candid video. I'm a UX designer or product designer, whatever you want to call it. I worked for a software company. I started as a freelancer in 2023 and got this full-time job last September. So I'm still pretty new to this whole thing. And yeah, I'm the only designer, so there are some challenges and some benefits that come with that role. I can't really go into detail about the stuff that I do at work, but I thought why not document this because it takes up so much of my time, and this is a huge part of my life. And right now I'm at a co-working space. I got my coffee here and I had some cereal earlier for breakfast. Yeah. Right now I'm taking care of some audit work, and so I'm gonna go ahead and do that for a little bit and then grab lunch.
So I'm actually a career switcher. I got my degree in mechanical engineering and didn't even know about UX being a thing until my junior year of college. I only found out that this was a career through studying hardware design. From the get-go, I knew UX was a better fit for me and the kind of work I wanted to do with my life. But I was so deep into my engineering program that I decided to put it off and stick with engineering. After graduating, I ended up working in the medical device industry as a hardware design engineer. And to be honest, it sounds kind of cool, but I dreaded it so much. So I started studying UX on my own time after work. And so after a couple years of being an engineer, one day I actually suddenly lost my job. And that was what made me decide to go all into UX as a career. It's crazy because I think back to high school, and if I knew what UX was back then, I probably would have gone for it. Because everything I looked for in a career back then was something very adjacent, like architecture, engineering. You know, you can't change the past, but damn, sucks. I lost so many years, but whatever, it's part of the journey. Part of my character development, I guess. My goal. Fire. Okay. Let's have a little chat. I don't think it's news to anyone that the job market for design and tech in general is just really bad. I'm not here to brag or say I became a UX designer last year. You can do it too. Because the truth is that it's really fucking hard. I just got lucky. I'm the exception. By the time I discovered UX and really had the chance to actually pursue it as a career was around the time when the UX craze was starting to die out. I guess you could say the bubble was about to pop. This is when mass layoffs were starting to become a thing. No one was hiring. The idea of working for free was no longer a foot in the door. It was now the only way to get experience. And it made even unpaid internships extremely competitive to get. Today it's just as bad, if not worse. You know, I have peers who have been on the search for a job for years now. Some of them have given up and moved on to other things in life. And honestly, I had almost reached that point as well. I think a lot of people in the industry like to blame the individuals who strived to become UX designers. To a degree, there is some validness to that because people really romanticize the job to have like a luxurious tech lifestyle without doing proper research on what it takes to actually do the job well. But that leads me to say that I think boot camps and influencers deserve much more of the blame in this situation, right? As well as tech companies in general, right? You had these companies that were hiring a ton in the late 2010s, and the boot camps capitalized on that, right? And back then it was a viable option to take this course for, I don't know, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and then jump into a new career. And people were doing it. It was like the gold rush of design, you know? Like these same people would get on social media and kind of preach about how they got these jobs really fast and sort of like show off their new lifestyles. Like they're working from home and they have great work-life balance. And they were selling this narrative to people, right? And so, however, the dynamics started to change in the early 2020s, right? In like 2020, I think people were still able to get hired for these roles, but I think around 2021 2022 is when things started to slow down. And I think that was like there was a sort of a peak, right, of how many people were getting into the field. And the thing is, even though the hiring slowed down and people were starting to get laid off, these boot camps and these influencers are still selling this dream of like, hey, you can still do this as a viable career, right? Which it is, right? But it's not in the same way that it was like 6 or 7 years ago. 6 or 7. Okay. So fun fact, I actually enrolled in a boot camp and I paid all the money up front with the money I saved up from my previous career. I work in contract jobs. That was the biggest waste of my time and money, let me tell you. I gained next to nothing from doing that, and I spent almost $10,000 on the course and I couldn't get a refund because a refund policy didn't apply to the city that I lived in. Right? So it's like kind of crazy. I ended up dropping from the bootcamp and I self-studied, right? And I was learning and grinding on my own, and that's what got me to a hireable position. And it took a while too. Like it took a long time for me to just continuously do my own projects, take on free work, reach out to people, cold email, blah, 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 etc. Yeah. Like it wasn't an easy road, right? And what's crazy, I think these boot camps are still up to their usual things. Like they're still selling their courses. And I think they've gotten even more expensive. Like they haven't improved at all. I'm pretty sure they're the exact same. And now it's even harder to get a job than it was even 2 years ago. I think now it's like you have to know how to do, like you need to know how to code, and you need to know how to vibe code, and you need like motion design and marketing experience. And it's like crazy. It's like we've lost the plot. I'm getting heated, sorry. That's another thing too, is like the constant upskilling, or the expectation to constantly upskill. I believe in bettering yourself and your craft and getting better at what you do, right? But it gets to a point where if you're asking me to do the jobs of like 4 different people, we've lost the plot, and I'm no longer a UX designer. And that's become the sort of expectation in the job market. When I was looking for work, like you'll never catch me using AI in my work, but I did have a phase where I was learning how to vibe code because I thought that's what I needed to do to get a job. Yeah, it turns out all that vibe coding amounted to nothing. I gained nothing from that experience. I feel very lucky to be working for a company that lets me design as a human and collaborate with others as a human. But that's just not the experience that a lot of people have, I feel like. I think now the majority of people are either unemployed or freelancing. I don't know many people that are actually getting jobs at actual companies anymore. The final thing I want to talk about is being a UX designer here in Hawaii, because it is extra hard. Being a UX designer is already hard, but doing it here in Hawaii is damn near impossible. I would say that 95% of the companies here have not caught up in terms of technology, and so a lot of software that is used here is either outdated or outsourced. A majority of people I talk to here, if they're not designers themselves, they don't really know what UX is. Like I've had this conversation probably over 100 times now. Hey, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm a UX designer. What's that? It can't be helped for the average person to not know what it is, but damn, you know, like companies here just don't have in-house designers, and the only ones that do are the really big ones, you know, like the Zippies, the Surfco, but a majority don't. There is a shift happening here on the islands, though it is very slow. The nonprofit that I got my internship through, PEQ, does really great work in getting people a work experience and getting them employed, right? And that's actually really how I was able to get my own full-time job. You know, there are startups here, and companies are here and there hiring people for remote jobs here in Hawaii, but it's just hard. And I'm not here to sell a fantasy of this career. It's just, I guess the whole point of all this yapping is for me to kind of convey the truth about this field, and this field as it pertains to where I live, right? I know there are still people out there that want to pursue UX as a career, and it's still possible, don't get me wrong. But I just want to make this video to hopefully set an expectation as someone who went through the whole process of finding a job and finally landing one, sort of giving that first-hand experience rather than someone who's been in the field, got a job when it was easy to get one, telling you that you can do it. Yeah, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Yeah, let's stop romanticizing UX. Let's stop selling a dream to people and setting them up for failure. But let's also help each other to be equipped to go on this journey of finding a job, because it is rough and it's difficult. And if you're doing it right now, respect to you, and I totally understand how you feel. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video here. And so this was different from all the videos that I've made so far, and I was kind of hesitant to make it, but I think after recording I feel good about it. So yeah, anyways, thank you. I'll see you in the next video.